Breaking news from around your world on this Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. I'm Larry Rice. Attorney General William Barr declared Wednesday he believes spying did occur on Donald Trump's presidential campaign, suggesting the origins of the Russia investigation may have been mishandled. Barr, appearing before a Senate panel, did not say what spying had taken place. He later said he wasn't sure there had been improper surveillance, but wanted to make sure proper procedures were followed. Barr was testifying for a second day at a congressional budget hearing that was dominated by questions about special counsel Robert Mueller's Trump-Russia investigation. Barr said he expects to release a redacted copy of Mueller's report next week, and Democrats have repeatedly expressed concern that his version will conceal wrongdoing by the president. Barr, who was nominated to his post by Trump 4 months ago, was asked by Republican Senator Jerry Moran about spying. Barr said that though he did not have specific evidence of wrongdoing, I do have questions about it. Barr went on to say, I think spying on a political campaign is a big deal. A separate investigation is being conducted by the Justice Department Inspector General into the early days of the FBI's Russia probe, which Barr says he expects to conclude sometime around May or June. The Attorney General said, I feel that I have an obligation to ensure government power was not abused. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu secured a clear path to re-election Wednesday, with religious rightist parties set to hand him a parliamentary majority and his main challenger conceding defeat. In a televised statement, Yair Lapid, number 2 in the centrist blue and white party, led by former General Benny Gantz, said, We didn't win in this round. We will make Likud's life hell in the opposition. It would be Netanyahu's record 5th term as premier. President Trump, who Netanyahu featured on campaign billboards to highlight their close relationship, phoned him from Air Force One to congratulate him on his re-election. Netanyahu said he thanked the president for his great support for Israel, including the White House's recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital and Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Trump told reporters at the White House that Netanyahu's re-election improved the chances of peace between Israel and the Palestinians. A team led by Trump advisor and son-in-law Jared Kushner has been working on an Israeli-Palestinian peace plan, but it has not disclosed details. Palestinians, angered by what they see as Trump's pro-Israel bias, have called it a non-starter. Millions of Americans are in the path of severe winter storms that will dump heavy snow on parts of the Midwest Wednesday. Forecasters said blizzard conditions and hurricane-strength winds are part of this storm system, and numerous watches and warnings have been issued across several states. About 4 million Americans are under blizzard warnings. Meteorologists said the storm will produce strong winds for portions of Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, Idaho, and California Wednesday, and blizzard conditions are forecast for Colorado, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Iowa, and Kansas. National Weather Service forecaster Patrick Burke said this is a potentially life-threatening storm. A foot of snow could fall on Minneapolis by the time the storm moves out. Some areas of western Minnesota and southeast South Dakota were expected to get up to 30 inches of wet, heavy snow. The National Weather Service said snow will expand into the upper Great Lakes overnight Wednesday, and as the storm moves out of the plains, severe thunderstorms will develop along and ahead of the cold front overnight Thursday into Friday over parts of the Ohio Valley, into parts of the Tennessee and lower Mississippi valleys. A major storm last month dropped heavy rains over that region, causing rapid snowmelt and extensive flooding along the Missouri River, and more than $3 billion in damage to property and crops in Nebraska and Iowa. WikiLeaks on Wednesday accused the Ecuadorian government of spying on Julian Assange as tensions mounted between the WikiLeaks founder and his hosts. The group's editor-in-chief told a news conference that Assange's meetings with lawyers and a doctor had been secretly filmed by Ecuadorian authorities. Assange sought refuge in the Ecuadorian embassy in London in 2012 and has been living there ever since. Sweden has dropped an investigation into rape allegations against Assange, but he refuses to come out of the embassy for fear of facing U.S. charges related to WikiLeaks' publication of classified documents. He also faces arrest in Britain for jumping bail. Relations between Assange and his Ecuadorian hosts have soured in recent weeks with a series of accusations from both sides. Assange's team fears he may be expelled from his refuge. Ecuador's Vice President Otto Sonnenholzner said Assange will have to abide by the consequences if he is found to have violated an embassy protocol put in place in October. Sonnenholzner said Foreign Minister Jose Valencia will present a report about compliance with the protocol to Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno Wednesday and will do the same on Thursday to congressional leaders. Following the report, he said, "We will see what happens in that situation." Prosecutors filed a new charge against actress Lori Loughlin and her husband, fashion designer Massimo Giannulli, in a high-profile nationwide college admissions cheating scandal. The Hollywood couple and 14 other parents were charged with money laundering conspiracy. Loughlin and Giannulli already have been accused of conspiracy to commit mail fraud in connection with allegations they paid $500,000 to have their two daughters treated as USC crew team recruits, even though they never participated in the sport. The news came a day after another celebrity defendant, actress Felicity Huffman, said she would plead guilty to conspiracy to commit mail fraud. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the Trump administration will increase pressure on Iran, but did not specify whether the administration would continue sanction waivers for countries that import Iranian oil. Pompeo told a Senate committee Wednesday he had no announcements on whether Washington would continue waivers to some countries that import Iranian crude or for Iran's civilian nuclear program, now that Trump has withdrawn the U.S. from the 2015 international nuclear agreement with Iran and reimposed sweeping sanctions. Senator Ted Cruz and some other Republican members of the Foreign Relations Committee urged Pompeo not to continue the oil waivers when a deadline comes up next month, saying Iran's exports are generating billions of dollars in revenue for its government. When Trump withdrew from the nuclear pact in November, he gave a 6-month waiver to 8 nations, allowing them to import some Iranian oil until early May. India, Iran's top oil client after China, was allowed to buy about 9 million barrels a month. Reuters reported on Tuesday that Indian refiners are holding back from ordering Iranian oil for loading in May while they wait for word on the sanctions waiver. The House has passed a bill Wednesday to restore Obama-era net neutrality rules. The Save the Internet Act passed the Democrat-controlled House 232 to 190 Wednesday, with only one Republican vote in favor. The legislation faces slim odds of making it through the Republican-controlled Senate. The Trump administration also opposes the bill. The 2015 net neutrality regulations barred Internet service providers like Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T from blocking or slowing online traffic or from charging companies for faster lanes for consumers. The regulations were upheld by a federal appeals court, but the Federal Communications Commission scrapped the rules after the Trump administration installed a Republican majority there. That meant there was nothing stopping ISPs from interfering with Internet traffic so long as they disclosed it. The net neutrality saga continued as tech companies and nearly 24 U.S. states sued to undo the 2017 repeal and restore the 2015 measure. A decision by a federal appeals court on that is pending. In Congress, Republicans have introduced 3 other bills that net neutrality advocates say are too weak because they don't give the FCC the power to go after potential bad behavior by ISPs, aside from blocking, throttling, and charging Internet companies for zippier access to users. Fossil bones and teeth found in the Philippines have revealed a long-lost cousin of modern people, which evidently lived around the time our own species was spreading from Africa to occupy the rest of the world. In a study released Wednesday by the journal Nature, scientists describe a cache of 7 teeth and 6 bones from the feet, hands, and thigh of at least 3 individuals. They were recovered from the Calao Cave on the island of Luzon in the northern Philippines. Tests on 2 samples show minimum ages of 50,000 years and 67,000 years. Analysis of the bones from Luzon led the study authors to conclude they belong to a previously unknown member of our Homo branch of the family tree. One of the toe bones and the overall pattern of tooth shapes and sizes differ from what's been seen before the Homo family, according to researchers. They dubbed the creature Homo luzonensis. It is yet another reminder that although Homo sapiens is now the only surviving member of our branch of the evolutionary tree, we've had company for most of our existence. Matthew Torcheri of Lakehead University in Ontario said it makes our understanding of human evolution in Asia messier, more complicated, and a whole lot more interesting. More than 2,000 species of animals and plants, including several endangered organisms, have been identified in the Korean Demilitarized Zone, the 155-mile no-man's land between the North and South. A survey conducted by South Korea's National Institute of Ecology from February 2018 to January 2019 in the central area of the DMZ, north of the civilian control line, has revealed nearly 2,100 species of wildlife thriving in the off-limits area. The survey results indicate there may be more species in the DMZ than previously estimated. The area has become an accidental ecological preserve across the decades. The 2018-19 study marks the first time South Korean scientists were able to identify the Hooper swan, the Eurasian counterpart of the North American trumpeter swan. Other rare animals spotted at the DMZ include an endangered mountain goat, musk deer, otters, and cranes. A total of 19 types of birds have been identified in the most recent study, according to Seoul's Ecology Institute. The report on the rare ecosystem in the DMZ comes at a time when other operations, including excavations of soldier remains, continue in the area. Yonhap News reported Wednesday that Seoul discovered 2,000 items belonging to soldiers killed there during the 1950-53 Korean War. The items were discovered after Seoul resumed digging in Arrowhead Ridge April 1st. The work took place without North Korea's participation. And that's your update for this Wednesday, April 10th, 2019. I'm Larry Rice. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day.